current UNC, North Carolina GM. Can't wait to ask him about the GM role. And our main man, you've seen him on McAfee Show. You've seen him roaming the NFL sidelines for years. And now he's out at UNC, North Carolina in the ACC. Michael Lombardi joins the show.
Yeah.
Mike, what's up, brother?
How are we doing, my man?
How you doing?
Man, how you doing? Hey, so listen, right out the gate, Garrick McGee, he's like, tell Lambo if he'll let me come on your show. And then Chris Jones say, tell Lambo I want to come on the show. But Lambo runs this shit like a tight ship. He don't play around, JB. Let him know. I said I can't ask Michael that, man. He's a GM. He runs that shit. Let me ask you something right out the gate. Those are good friends of mine, but they said this is the greatest program they've ever been associated with. It's ran like an NFL franchise. You being the GM at North Carolina, Smitty and I have been debating this and arguing for a long time now, for the last 2 months. I believe you're the only true GM in college football. Can you please tell me I'm wrong or right? Because I see a lot of GMs that have been hired that are really doing it as a old DFO used to operate. I don't believe they're doing it in the same manner. Now, I'm not going to knock any program. I'm just saying, is there a difference in what you're doing than the other places?
I don't know what other places. I'm so new to college football that I have no idea. I mean, look, I've got a bunch of people that help me tremendously that remind me of the rules every single day because I'm not sure I know them all, right? So I have no idea what other teams are doing. Bill and I are just set this up like a pro organization. I handle the player contracts. I handle the player. We're building a pro scouting department where we do high school and college, and we're building the advanced teams, and then we have the recruiting program. So it allows him to coach. Look, this is a two-person job. It's huge. And as Bill and I talked about all along, it's a two-person job, but it's a one-voice job. And, the voice comes from him. My job is to be in the background, to do the things that adhere to the program, to help build the culture, which we both know is the most important aspect.
No doubt.
Let me ask you, how tough has it been? Obviously, like you said, you're still kind of new to the college space, and obviously NIL has been a huge deal, and trying to navigate that system. I guess how tough has it been to recruit the high school guys, but then also focus on the portal, but then also maintain your current guys on the roster? It's a lot to juggle at once.
The hardest part has been that you're dealing with. In the pro, you've got the draft, you've got free agency, you've got a structure. There's no structure here, right? So it's you got the 26 portal, you got the 26 recruiting class, 27 recruiting class, 28 recruiting class, and then you got the portal. So you're juggling 4 balls at one time. And that's why it's important to have a staff and a process that you can build and write reports and understand what the hell you're doing, as opposed to just taking one day, coming in here and saying, I'm going to look at this guy. You got to have a system in place. So it is just like a pro job, though. I mean, I spend most of my time on understanding this team, evaluating our team, knowing what do we have to do to improve this team? What does the level of competition look like in terms of how do we get the players not necessarily to win a game, is to compete for the highest level that we possibly can. So I think there's a big educational slope for me, but it's pretty much the same. The best part about this job is, where it's different than the NFL. If I lost a guy that I wanted to draft in the second round, I was devastated. But in this job, if I lose a guy, I got another guy. I got 8 guys down the road I could sign.
Let me ask you, Mike, real quick, Michael Lombardi, everybody join us, North Carolina GM. Let me ask you, how many grunts or young GAs or youngsters that are you prepping for their next job? Because I don't know if anyone understands the in totality, like the importance. These young cats are going out there and getting in the portal, and you got 10 kids maybe bringing you 100 guys and say, these guys entered the portal today. I think a lot of people out there, misnomers, think there's one guy, Michael Lombardi's running all this crap with the portal and the high school kid. How many grunts are you prepping? Because a lot of people, I don't think, realize that we're preparing these youngsters to become maybe a position coach or something else down the line. And I don't think there's any better place than North Carolina with Bill Belichick and yourself. These youngsters, I hope, are embracing it and taking it on like, man, I got a great opportunity here with 2 legends that can get me to where I couldn't get myself.
Well, that it's really been great. I mean, we're training. That's what we have to do, is train people. That's part of being a leader, is you got to teach people what you want. teach people where we're going. And I've got a lot of great people that help me on both sides, the scouting and recruiting element part. But what we're trying to do, Coach, is build a pyramid, right? The pyramid starts with people coming in, evaluating players, writing reports. Then they take those reports and move them up to the next level, which would be the position coaches, where they evaluate the player, they write reports. And then when they're done with it, it moves up to the next level, which is the coordinators. And then when they're done with it, it moves up to the next level, which is me and Coach Belichick. And then we all make the final decision. It's exactly the way it is in pro football. You know, you have your area guys that come in and write the reports, and then they move it up to the directors, and then they move it up to the coaches and all that. So the same model's in place here, and that's what we want to do. And then you've got to build systems within place so you don't lose a guy, because you can't, you know, it's not fair to a scout. I mean, if a scout tells you he didn't make a mistake, he's a bad scout, right? Like all the mistakes I've made in my career, they're right on the tip of my tongue. And that's what they have to be, because that's the only way you grow as a scout. So, but you have to have systems in place where you're not going to lose a player because one guy didn't like him. You've got to be able to have cross references and cross checks.
No doubt.
100%. I want to ask you about the current, the actual team, the roster, starting with, who I'm assuming will be the starting quarterback, Gio Lopez, who I think you locked in May. Just from your perspective, from what you've seen, how has he been looking?
Well, Gio's got great, if you watch his tape at South Alabama, he was very good. He had threw the ball with great rhythm. He could run, made loose plays, made the second play, kept his eyes down the field. He did a great job for Major Applewhite in that offense. And we were fortunate enough. He almost came out in the fall portal. He didn't. And, and then we had an opportunity to get him in the spring portal, which was great for us. But I think more than anything, the type of person Gio is fits our program. He's smart. He's tough. He's dependable. He's got great character. The team resonates around him. And, he's battling Max Johnson for a starting job. So that's wide open. We've only had 4 practices, so we haven't really put together a depth chart as yet. But I think Gio's doing the things that we need. So is Max, in order to be the most competitive team we can be this year.
Has Bill had a lefty since Steve Young?
It's funny, Coach. We have 3 left-handed quarterbacks in the top 3.
Wow!
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
We have the 3 quarter. We have Max, we have Gio, and then we have a young kid, Torrey Newkirk, who's left-handed. I mean, I've never been a part of a team that has 3 quarterbacks that are left-handed, and we do. It's kind of interesting, so you have to jockey some things around. You want to make sure that your right tackle is really your left tackle, and your left tackle is really your right tackle. It's kind of been interesting to work with it.
Hey, everything's flipped. Talk about that, JB.
Hey, your boy is coaching the Qs. How's that? How does he navigate that? Because I've done it, and it's not as easy as everyone thinks. Just throwing a lefty, the hash mark changes, the next play call changes.
He had Dalton Gabriel last year. He had so he's kind of familiar with him. He coached him at Oregon last year. Dylan Gabriel. So he kind of has been used to it. And Gio will remind you a lot of Dylan Gabriel, and kind of how his demeanor, his stature. I think he runs a little better than Dylan, but it's good. And, if we can get him half as good as what they've done at Oregon and what they did offensively, we'll be in good shape.
Nah, no doubt. And Freddie Kitchens, how's he translating coming on back down to college? How's he translating this thing?
Yeah, it's good to be with Freddie. It's all us guys have been fired from Cleveland. We have a reunion every day here. We kind of talk about it, a long list of people have been fired by Cleveland, so it's a good thing.
No doubt. Smitty, you guys got that kid, the Colorado transfer, Adrian Wilson, wideout.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone through it. He's had some medical things to start out camp with. I think he's healthy now, and he's big, he's fast, he's smart, tough, and dependable. So he's going to get a great opportunity to compete, and we'll see how it works out. But hopefully, today's Players' Day off. We're hoping that, he can come back and be able to be more consistently on the field. We've got a lot of we've got 70 new players on our roster. So the most important job I have right now is to correctly evaluate our own players, and I'm really looking forward to evaluating Adrian.
No doubt. Last thing I got for you, I know you got a lot of things going on, man. 2 questions. When are you going to stop this doing the podcast thing? Because I know how important this shit is. And I'm just like, it's unbelievable. Is this the new era of what it is? Like you're out there so the kids can see you.
Well, I'm promoting the book here. The only reason I'm doing this show today, I would have turned you down to do this interview, but I'm trying to promote my book, Football Done Right. And this was set up by my publisher. So, but this will be the last you hear from me. Like I said, it's a 2-person job, but it's a one voice. The voice of North Carolina needs to come from Coach Belichick. But since my book came out in paperback, I've got to do some of these things, and I did them. And I will disappear like Kaiser Sose.
Many don't know about that movie right there, Mike. But let me ask you the second part of this, like, because I know how grueling this is. What's the expectation? Is this a Bill Belichick attacking this thing? Like, hey, man, we don't lose. This is what we do. This is a NFL type of deal now where we can go get our players. We don't have to depend on freshmen and high school kids. Are you expecting to come out and win like a Pete Carroll in Vegas?
Well, I think what we want to try to do is build a program that has sustainability to it, right? I mean, look, the last thing you want to do is have a program that wins and it falls apart. So my only concern is to grade the team today because we have a day off and then have a really good practice tomorrow. I think to me, that's the most important thing. I mean, one thing that I think that people that we talk about all the time here is, intensity impresses, consistency transforms. And I think we're going to be really consistent.
Man, that's powerful. You mentioned your book, man. Let's talk about it. Tell the fans, tell us what kind of what's the premise of the book, what is it about, and when can we get it off the shelves?
Well, my book's Football Done Right, and it came out, and I was really delighted to see Sterling Sharp go in the Hall of Fame because the book was really about Sterling, how it was an injustice that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. And I wrote that book, and as I wrote about in the new chapter that I wrote for the book, I called the book was served as when Larry David did an episode on Curb Your Enthusiasm, he had a middler. One of those episodes was the middler, right? The guy sits in the middle of a dinner table party and really has good conversations. And so I think ultimately that's what this book is. It's a book to have conversations. Like, I mean, George Allen won 70% of his games. He coached 10 years. He went to 1 Super Bowl. He's in the Hall of Fame. Marty Schottenheimer won 200 games in his NFL career. He's one of 9 men that have done that achievement, and yet he can't get a sniff to get in the Hall of Fame. Mike Shanahan invented the outside zone run play, won 2 Super Bowls, and he can't seem to make it. Mike Holmgren, Dan Reeves is really ridiculous. I mean, Dan Reeves, yes, he lost Super Bowls. He didn't get in, but so did Marv Levy. So did Bud Grant. They're in the Hall of Fame. And Dan Reeves won 200 games if you count his playoff victories. So there's a lot of injustice when it comes to the evaluation of the coaches. And I think there should be a criteria for the coaches, which I wrote about in the book, about who is a Hall of Fame coach. Pete Carroll is a Hall of Fame coach based on what he's been able to accomplish in his career. Mike Tomlin's a Hall of Fame coach. Those guys are Hall of Fame coaches. Win 1 Super Bowl doesn't mean, look, Weeb Ewbank is a 500 coach. He's in the Hall of Fame. He won the biggest game of all time. Perhaps he deserves to be in there, and he was a great coach. But I think, to me, there needs to be a better platform and a better criteria to understand it so guys don't get lost in the shuffle. Think about this, guys. We would not have the forward pass if it wasn't for Clark Shaughnessy. Clark Shaughnessy invented the forward pass. He did all those things, and the reality of the situation is he's in the College Hall of Fame, but he isn't in the pro.
It's funny you said that. We had Dick Vermeil on last week, and he said exactly the same thing. He said he doesn't understand the criteria. We were talking about Torrey Holt, and he thought that's an injustice for him not being in. And he mentioned the same thing with this coaching thing. He said nobody knows the White House has become the hardest, position to get in, and how to grade that out. And then the coaching part of it is a mockery.
I mean, they put it in the category with the owners. I mean, look, the owners own the league. They can do anything they want. They can put themselves in if they want. So why take it away from some coach who's sporty? I mean, Dan Reeves. He took Atlanta to a Super Bowl. He took Denver to a Super Bowl. I mean, what more does Dan Reeves have to do to be in the Hall of Fame? It's really a tragedy. I mean, the guy's won all those games. He's won 200 games. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame. But we got people that vote that have an agenda. I mean, look, Charles Haley, how long did it take him to get in the Hall of Fame? Has there been a better pass rusher than Charles Haley? I mean, come on. He should have been a first-time.
5 balls? What's he got?
5 rings. He made every team. He made the team better that he played on. It's a joke how things go and guys get in and you're like, wait a minute, that's not a Hall of Fame. player, but to me, that's what I wrote a book. There's certain levels of the Hall of Fame. There's a difference between some of the players who get in and some of the great players. There's a Hall of Fame within the Hall of Fame. Deion's talked about that. My gold jacket's different than somebody else's.
No doubt. Michael, man, I know you're busy as hell. I can't thank you enough for having me.
Appreciate you having me. Appreciate you.
We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Michael Lombardi, GM for the North Carolina Tar Heels.